Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. As always, first things first. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel, who has liked, who has put a comment in there. Share. Hit the like button. I definitely appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed, and I do respond back. Even if we don't agree, I'm cool with that too. So, as y'all can see, the title of this is the Love and Marriage Huntsville episode that airs Saturday. I know I'm a little late to the party, but I'm going to go ahead and do my commentary anyway. Now, my commentary is based week to week based on the episodes that airs on the show. Okay. Now, I know the episodes are edited. We don't get to see everything. So I do my commentary based on what I see on my television screen. All right. Now, everything on my show is alleged, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes only. Alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. So let's go. Let's get started. I'm going to make this very, very short as much as I can. This episode is all about the activation of Miss Wanda. Okay. But before we get to activate Miss Wanda, so she can come down to Huntsville and bully Miss Nell, let's just talk about Trish and Ken real quick. First things first, I definitely will give Trish her kudos for getting the therapy that she so desperately needed. I know since she stepped on the scene, everybody been saying Trish need to heal. Trish is study grieving. Trish needs to fix that. But just like people who have an addiction or whatever, they will not fix the problem until they recognize it's a problem. So maybe Trish finally recognized she has a problem. I'm glad to see her fix it. I'm glad Dr. Francis was able to help her. I love me some Dr. Francis. And as I always said, Martell could use Dr. Francis because that lady he got there doing therapy with him, she probably obsessed with just how he looked and not really paying attention to what's coming out of his freaking mouth because he hasn't changed at all. There is no growth in Martell. Martell, get over there. Not get, run your ass over there, Dr. Francis. You and Ariel. So maybe he can break down on that little white chalkboard, eraser board, how he broke down Trish and let her know that your issue was you didn't like Ken because Ken stepped in and basically saved your children and saved you from yourself because you weren't finished grieving. You had anger issues with your husband leaving. Your kids was left in the middle. Ken stepped in and provided some stability for them that you could not provide at that time. And you got jealous thinking he was taking them away just like everybody else who had left you. I'm glad Dr. Francis explained that to her. Trish, kudos for getting the help. The only downside to that, even though we're happy to see you having getting the help that you needed, you came in on 10. You was very rude and disrespectful to people, going off all the time. You had an issue with Melanie. You didn't even know her, and it kind of made the viewers not gravitate towards you. Hopefully, seeing your growth, they may start picking up and start liking you some more. I hope that happens, okay? And hopefully, y'all business get off the ground. That's enough of Trish and Ken. As I say, congratulations, kudos to them. They sat down at the dinner, had a good conversation. They seem like they're in a good space. I hope it works out. Marquez is no longer around to bother them. He has moved on. He's in a good space. I hope that family get it together, if nothing else. Now, let's get down to the nitty gritty, the activation of Miss Wanda, because that's all this episode was about. So the girlies get on the sprinter, and again, Trish couldn't make it. You know, you seen where Letitia went to her house and asked her to come. She couldn't make it because she had a birthday party for one of the children down there in Miami. They get on the sprinter. As they get on the sprinter, first thing they on a trip to Bessemer to see Wanda's food truck. First thing, as usual, they're talking about Nell. Now, prior to this, they showed flashback to Nell and Chris when Trish and Letitia was in the kitchen talking about them. And Chris made a very good observation when he said somebody had the gasoline and somebody had the lighter fluid. The gasoline was Letitia, and Kimmy came with the lighter fluid, and that activated Miss Nell at that particular pool party. And because they kept going back and forth at her. And she was trying to remain calm, but y'all know Miss Nail will go from 0 to 60 easily. And they pushed her just that quick with the questions. Okay. And then it went from there. Y'all remember what happened with the whole threatening to throw somebody in the pool. Now, they get on the bus. And as they get on the bus, the sprinter, I'll say that, that would be Destiny, Kimmy, and Letitia, the three stooges, the three amigos. They're on the bus, and the first thing they do is start talking about Nell. That's all they did. Nell is just upset because she went through something, and because she went through it, she wanted us to go through it. She needed to stop talking about our husbands. She needed to stop talking about our marriage. And she did lie. She told her she was leaving California to go see her granddaughter be born. She did not. When they showed the flashbacks, it said, Nell said he left because there's something about somebody going into labor to have a baby. And then Kimmy or one of them on the side said, "Oh, I seen something about that on social media." She never said me and Chris are going to see our granddaughter be born. She said Lance, alluding to Lance left early because somebody was going into labor. I never heard her say her and Chris left early. So then they was like, well, maybe, she wasn't supposed to tell that part or whatever. That's what Letitia told Trish earlier. And I'm like, that's not true. That is not what she said. So of course they went back and forth, and Kimmy was like, she said she Scott 1.0 and Scott 2.0 and started yelling at me. And I didn't like all that yelling and this and that. Again, Mel's the target. All they talking about is Nell, Nell, Nell. Nell said Scott 1.0, Scott 2.0, and y'all better leave me alone. Y'all not going to double team me. Nell is being messy, talking about her husbands. Nell is the one who talked about her grandchild being born. I didn't bring it up. Y'all are just in Nell's business, and I'm trying to figure out why. Why is it concern to you if Nell grandbaby was born? Why does that bother you so much, Letitia? Whether she lied about it or not, it's her grandchild. It has nothing really to do with you. If anybody should be furious, it's Destiny, because Destiny was the one dating the son. She should be mad at Nell, not y'all. Y'all mad at Nell for what? And then you talking about she's mad at us for something that happened to her. Her husband admitted to cheating. She admitted that he cheated. They separated, and that was 25, 30 years ago. Y'all ain't admit nothing yet, but you keep talking about it. I've never seen a person who ain't cheated but talk about it all the time. If your husband ain't cheated, why is that always a conversation? Why is that always your storyline? Just my opinion. Now, they get to the Bessemer. They finally make it to Bessemer. And of course, they order their little potatoes. Miss Wanda has a very nice looking food truck. She had it set out real nice with tables and chairs for people to eat. She comes to the table with the food, and she sit down and she said, "How was the bus ride?" you know. And once again, Letitia activating Wanda. Because Letitia know her mother, and she know if she gets an inkling that somebody's messing with her daughter, she's on it. She's ready to go pop off. She's ready to fight. She protects Letitia at all costs. And most parents would do that. But Letitia, 40 years old. And she's doing this intentionally because she wants Miss Wanda to handle Nell, because she made the comment about Nell being her elders. Okay? And she's telling her she respects her elders. She don't want to argue with Nell. And Wanda's trying to figure out what happened, what's going on with you and Nell. And then Tisha said, "I'm just going to have my mother handle Nell." So now you're showing Destiny and Kimmy's face looking sideways like, okay, Letitia knows what she's doing. Then they go in the comment mentioning something about, Nell sick, Letitia sick, and like it's like sicking her dog on Nell. And then Destiny, constantly in the comments, "I'm neutral. I like both of my friends, and I don't want to be a part of either one of them." You neutral now, Destiny? Because when Mel was on the show, you wasn't neutral. You made it absolutely clear to all of us. You were Team Martell. Martell was your friend. And if you go visit him and he's with Ariana, too bad. So sad. That's my friend. And I'm gonna go see my friend. You made that crystal clear. Until you realized towards the end that Melanie wasn't taking you back as a friend, although you was kissing her ass all over the show. And then when you got to the reunion, you start talking this shit about the grooming and all that crap. So you did pick a side. You was not neutral there. But now you're neutral because you need a job. Let's just keep it a buck. Okay. They're sitting out not saying anything. They're just looking at Letitia, but making comments in the confessional. So again, she said, "Well, I was just trained." Letitia telling her mom, "Well, I was just trained to respect your elders and that, and your life of you'll have a longer life." So she's like, "Well, what's going on, Letitia?" Well, Nell's making comments about our husband, Marceau and Maurice, and and she's just real messy, and because she knows the truth about her husband, and she wants our husband to be in the same situation and all of that. Just a whole cheating rumor. I'm sick of hearing the cheating rumor, but that's basically what she was talking about. Okay. So then they're talking about Miss Wanda's like, what do you mean? She doing what? Do I have to make a trip to Huntsville? Do I got to come back to Huntsville? And Tisha's like, well, you can come back. You don't have to ask anybody. You can come. Really? So then she says, "Oh, and then she told me I need to tell Letitia Scott to mind her MF and business." And then Kimmy steps in and say, "Oh, wait a minute. That's not, she didn't say that. Destiny told you that Nell said that. Nell said to Destiny, and then Destiny said it to you." And then Wanda said, "Oh, so you the bone carrier." And Destiny sitting there, looking stupid as usual, activating Wanda. They want Wanda to show up. Even though Destiny and Kimmy are sitting there like, oh shit. I don't think Kimmy even likes Wanda that much, but she likes to see Wanda argue with other people, long as it's not her. Because she kept giving her a strange look. You can see if you go back and look at it. And then when she went in the confessional saying Letitia know what she's doing, she's like sticking her dog on Nell. She don't like Wanda, but long as Wanda ain't messing with her, she good. Destiny looking like, oh, I don't want no smoke with Wanda. Well, no, I thought they were cool. And if you thought they was cool, then you should never brought it up, Destiny. So all of them just adding gasoline to the fire, activating Wanda. Okay? Creating a scene, creating a moment for Wanda to come down to Huntsville and get into it with Nell. Bullying. All three of y'all. There's only 5 women on that show. And Trish is not there. They've already had one outing where they didn't invite Nell. She felt some type of way. Y'all would have had a second outing without inviting Nell. Only Trish didn't come because of the Miami trip. You didn't invite Nell to this one because you're not speaking to Nell. So now we going back to the regular thing that y'all do: harass, bully, isolate. Same thing you did to your last team, Melody Cherie. I don't like saying her name, castmate. And that's out of respect. Your last castmate, you iced her out, bullied her, made her feel uncomfortable around y'all. Same thing you're doing to Nell. And y'all act like y'all don't. Maybe we as the audience are the ones that's stupid, but I'm just saying, this is what I'm seeing. I see a repeat: wash, rinse, and repeat. The same thing you did to your ex castmate, you are now doing to Nell. I have a feeling y'all don't like her because she's friends with your ex castmate. Just my opinion. Letitia keeps alluding to her being old. Are you age shaming her or something? So what? She's on the same show you're on. And actually, she's more entertaining. Her and Chris Fletcher can go off and have their own show called The Fletchers, and we would watch because they do have something going on in their lives. They're not hiding. So anyway, go back to what's going on at the thing. Miss Nell says, I'm sorry, Miss Wanda, she says, okay, yeah, fine, everything, Danny. I'm be down in Huntsville. She looks over at Kimmy. So, Kimmy, what you think about that interview between Martell and Ariel? And Kimmy, as usual, Letitia says, we don't care. And Miss Wanda said, I'm talking to Kimmy. Miss Wanda wants Kimmy to open her mouth. Kimmy sitting there still in denial. I mean, what do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to say? Because Kimmy don't like Miss Wanda. And she said, well, what do you think about it? I mean, that she's saying this about your husband, and then, saying this man did that. Well, she said, you didn't respond back. Letitia like, well, me and Marceau did our live. We responded. I didn't feel it. There was a need to say anything. I didn't believe it. It's not true. I don't believe it. And then Ms. Wanda's like, well, what did Maurice say? Did he deny it or anything? Well, we had a conversation about it. I mean, did you see the young lady? Well, what does that got to do with it? And this could have happened 5 years ago. I don't know. Maybe she looked different back then. And she said, well, I'm not going to talk about it. And so Miss Wanda's like basically telling her, you're not being transparent. Kimmy don't want to talk about it as usual. Miss Wanda telling her she's not being transparent, and she doesn't, for some reason, doesn't understand where Miss Wanda's coming from. Miss Wanda is saying, basically, if this man does not give you an answer, then it could be some truth to it. I don't believe any of that. We don't give a F. I don't believe none of this happened. And Ms. Wanda's like, no, what I'm saying is if he doesn't give you a definitive answer saying, no, I did not do this. No, I do not know this girl. Because Ms. Wanda said she took it from the front and the back. Ma, why you say that? Kimmy just sitting there. But if he doesn't give you a definitive answer, it could be some truth to it. Kimmy don't care. Kimmy don't care. Kimmy will do whatever Maurice tells her to do. Kimmy is the epitome of a pick-me. But Kimmy issue is she is I'm from Baltimore. I turned my Be More on Nell and all of that. Kimmy is afraid it will get up in everybody's face but Maurice. Kimmy ready to pop off on everybody but Maurice. And the reason I say this is when Maurice and her son sat there, and even when she sat with her son, and he told her how he felt about Maurice and how he felt he was treated in that house, and how he felt like he was a third wheel, and how he felt like Maurice didn't father him, she had no smoke for Maurice. But you got more smoke for Nell and your other castmates and anybody else that say something to you about Maurice or your husband or I don't like your hair, you will go off on them. But you will not go off on the man who mistreated your son. That man did not treat your son correctly. At least your son felt he wasn't treated correctly in that household. And you ain't said shit to Maurice. But you will snap off on Mel and Nell if they say anything about you. Or if they even insinuate Maurice might have cheated. What? My husband, you going off. And your son sitting here saying, I did not feel like I mattered in this house. I felt invisible. He did not father me. He treated me differently than his own son. And you sitting there like, well, I didn't know. You like that with him. Instead of saying, hey, my son feels, you didn't say shit when you didn't even defend your son when he said he felt like that. But if they say anything about Maurice, and I get it's your husband, you want to defend your husband, but you go from 0 to 60 on them. But you couldn't even have a stern conversation with Maurice about the way your son. But Jalen felt like he was like, girl, you sat in that house the whole time, all them years, and you know that your son was being treated like that, and you freaking let it happen. Now you want us to take you serious because you from Baltimore. Nell ain't gonna pop off on me like that. Go pop off on your husband. Try that. You sat back and let that man mistreat your son and didn't say shit. You know what I mean? And then you sitting telling us, oh, I don't like people hollering at me because I come from an abusive family. How do we know? As usual, just like Miss Wanda trying to drag something out of you, you don't tell us anything about your life, but you got a whole bunch of opinions about everybody else's, Kimmy, which is why the viewers can't connect to you. Tisha, I was connecting. I like you, Tisha. I still like your husband. Your husband's probably one of the reasons I like you by default. But right now, activating Miss Wanda in this situation, and then saying, I don't like being messy. Really? Because I don't like all that messiness Nell doing. I don't like being all up in that mess. What do you think you're doing right now? What do you think you're doing? This is as messy as you get. This is as messy as you get. Bringing Miss Wanda in. Destiny, I stay neutral, Miss Destiny. Girl, stop. You were the bone carriers, like Miss Wanda said, in all of this. You kept going back and forth in between Letitia and Miss Nell. Stop playing in our faces. I don't know how this is going to end next week, but once again, I'm sick of the bullying. And I'm going to close with that. I'm sick of the bullying on Real Housewives of Potomac, bullying Stacy, the bullying of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and over here trying to start this bullying now by activating Miss Wanda. Find some real storylines and stop this because it's just getting toxic. It's really getting toxic and y'all need to stop. Ms. Nell ain't bothered nobody. Is she loud? Yes. That's something we like about her. Do she pop off? Yeah. But she don't pop off unless you give her a reason to. Y'all sit there and instigate Like Mr. Fletcher said, one got gasoline and one got the lighter fluid. And y'all sit there and instigate and just push this lady. And I know next week is probably gonna be a doozy. I could just I could just see Miss Wanda going off next week. And that's something that y'all gonna have to live with. Because right now, that type of behavior is really tearing the show down. Please do better. That's all I can say. Marceau and Letitia was supposed to save this show. And I think Marceau was doing a halfway decent job. But Letitia, true to fashion, like Maya Angelou always say, when people show you who they are, believe them. She's showing us who she was. She's going back to the old Tisha from season 4, 5, and 6 when they was harassing their ex-castmate. I see it. Recycled. Rinse, wash, repeat. The same shit. Isolation. Y'all isolating Mel. Don't want to talk to Mel. I mean, Nell. I keep getting them mixed up. Nell. Same shit. Show some growth. Hell, even Trish has some growth. Hey, that's just my opinion. This is Generation X Nation. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Like, subscribe, go and hit that like button, hit that subscription button. Let people know about my channel. I definitely will appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. And with that being said, you guys go and have a great rest of your day. Peace. And I'm out.